Filippo, my man. Thank
Hey
you so
Leo,
much.
good morning.
Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's awesome that we are able to share your story and your experience in the program for everyone that's watching us, for the viewers, for whoever's watching this live or on replay. Before we dive in, let's just give everyone a little bit of background on who is Chef Ventura.
Well, I am a chef. I'm a sous chef in a very busy two Michelin star restaurant. Yeah, I've been a chef since I was 15. I'm 30 tomorrow, actually. So makes 15 years as a chef. Yeah, lately I'm sorting out a bit my private life, which is thanks to you.
Awesome, man. Very cool. Before we started, I believe you're gonna enter month 5 right now. It's been an incredible journey. But before all of this, before you even heard about the program, what was happening in your life?
What was happening was that I've been so focused on my career in the last, let's say, 7 years, that I neglected every other aspect of my life. So I was so focused on reach my objectives as a professional that I was neglecting my personal health, and this was affecting me psychologically, was affecting my personal relations, and I was not feeling good about it.
Was there any particular moment where you were like, okay, I need to fix this problem, I'm in trouble, I need coaching?
Yeah, it was more like a kind of revelation. I was just before Christmas. I had the occasion to go back home since I haven't been home since before COVID, so it was almost 3 years. And I had the occasion to catch up with some friends. And there was a friend that was a dear friend. It was like me. He was always in rush. He works in finance, and he used to be a big boy like me, let's say. And I see him 3 years after, and he was healthy, he was skinny, and we had this deep chat about how his body was performing as high as his mind, and that was helping him in his job a lot. And this was for me was like a revelation, and I started to think, well, it's true. I need to be always spot on with what I do, and I need to always think about how to deliver as best. And probably if I start to take care of my body, it's gonna be even better. So that was the click that changed my approach to my personal health, basically.
And that was the time just before January when you went home and had that specific conversation.
Yeah. Just before January. Yeah. Well, to be fair, I was always thinking I need to start to do something for myself. I need to start to take care of it. But I was always finding excuses. I was always, doing one step forward, 3 backward, and I never had good results.
Yeah, I remember the first time we talked, we were chatting about your goals, and you said, I need to lose 20 kilos. And I said, that's possible. What are you struggling with? Yeah, I'm a chef. I work 16 hours a day, and I never have time for anything. I'm yeah, that's possible. You can do it. You're that sounds like an utopia. And then a couple of months later, we started the program. When you started out, what were your how was your experience like? How was it?
Sorry, you cutting off a little bit, Leo. Can you repeat, please?
Yeah, just before when you got started, how was your experience in the program? What was the first 3 months like for you?
Well, I think the first, the first month was the hardest in terms of getting used to this new rhythm. you grow up into the conviction that you never have time because, as you said, your work takes away most part of your days. That getting used to get that extra hour for yourself every now and then for me was at the beginning was quite complicated. But as soon as I started to get more regular, especially with the gym, I started to see that I actually enjoy it, and it helped me a lot to also disconnect from my job, disconnect from everything what's going on in my life, and get that hour for myself to even distress a little bit.
So that's like would you say like the finding time for the gym was the number one challenge throughout this program? What was the number one challenge, and how did you manage to overcome that?
Yeah, I think it was not finding the time to go to the gym, is getting into your head and convince yourself that you got the time to do that. And even if you're tired, an hour more every now and then is not going to change that. It's not going to make you more tired than what you already are. And maybe also it makes you less tired somehow.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's the difference between Filippo now and Filippo when he first got started? What were the results that you got?
Well, it's a huge difference. And I'm not saying I'm arrived, because I am midway. But since January, I lost around 15 kilos, which for me was impossible, as I've been stuck on my weight for years now. I used to do a lot of sport when I was younger. I used to play rugby, and then as soon as I get deep into my profession, I lost everything, and obviously my physical it took the heat of that. So my biggest result, obviously, for myself is being able in few months to get rid of that massive excess of weight. And the second big achievement is that I have this mindset that I know that I'm just in midway. I don't want to stop. I don't feel achieved yet. And I know that thanks to you, and also thanks to my own personal work, I'm on the good way, and I'm gonna get even more results in the next 6 months or a year, whatever it's gonna be.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Just for the audience in the US, 15 kilos is about 35 pounds, like between 35 and 40 pounds. So that's a pretty decent result. Besides the physical changes, and besides like the results that you had in the program, doing the program, what other progress have you experienced in your personal life as a consequence of the great results that you had?
Well, I'm much more active. I have a lot of energy that I never had before, and I'm getting used to it. So I always been a person that did a lot of things, but it was costing me more. Now I do it almost naturally. I almost never stop. I got always something going on, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it to have time to spend with my partner, or have more energy to dedicate of some other things. So this is for me it affected a lot my let's say my mental health, and that's something that I notice much. I'm more positive. I am more energetic, and I think that this is giving me the energy to also look into the future and see how I can reach my other objectives.
Tell me something. Someone told me once on a call that you sing at work. Is that a myth, or is that true?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's a way to distress a little bit, and also to alleviate the pressure from my colleagues, make them laugh a little bit, especially when you are the responsible of them. Sometimes it's give a smile and try to make the things a little less heavy in the day-to-day life. It's I think it's a little gift that I have. So yeah, I do. Yeah.
Nice. Typical Italian. Yeah, actually a good advice for all the chefs watching this. A good distress strategy. And that leads me up to the next question. And this is something that a lot of people ask me, and it's kind of a little bit of a chef specific, but can actually be applicable to anyone. How do you manage to stick to the nutrition protocol while being surrounded by food all day and basically having to taste things all the time?
At the beginning was very hard, especially getting used to it and feeling guilty when I had to try more stuff more often, and knowing that I wasn't sticking very much to the plan. But after a while, you understand that if you just try a little bit, you don't need to eat a massive amount of things. Your palate, as being a chef, is you just need to try. So you just it's not gonna affect so much your fasting, or it's not gonna impact your metabolism so much. But it took me a while to understand that. And at the beginning, I was trying to avoid or get someone else to try for me. But when I got into the whole process, I start to feel less guilty. And if I have to try a little bit of things, I know that it's not going to impact massively my final result.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I believe a lot of people who need to take action and haven't taken action yet on that, they have the mental blockage that's like, it's not possible for me. I'm surrounded by food all day. Like, it's impossible for me to stick to anything. And so that goes to show that it is indeed possible. I want to ask you, what would be your advice for people watching this, people in the hospitality industry who are kind of in a similar position than you were before you started a program? What would be your advice for them? Like, if they're struggling with their health and etc.
I think the biggest advice that you can give to someone is to believe that it's possible, and that everything that you got in your head is just an excuse you put to yourself to don't do the first step. And the first step is always the most difficult one, because it's the most scarier. And even if you don't feel good, you are in this bubble of uncomfortedness or comfortness that you live in. And the first step out is the most difficult. But then you need to just trust the process and, build your own confidence and trust in yourself. And it's not that difficult, really. It's not as difficult as it seems.
Even if they work 16-hour days, 7 days a week, under stress, and being smashed by being understaffed and etc. Is it still possible? It's
possible. I mean, everything is possible. Obviously, it takes a little effort, but what doesn't? I mean, everything takes an effort, especially if you do that job and if you do that 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. I believe, sometimes you do 7 days, sometimes you make 5, sometimes you do 14 hours. So you need to put a little effort to have something back. But if you think about being your own priority, a little effort is, I don't think it's going to cost so much, because it's for yourself.
Absolutely. Wise words, man. Anything you want to say to people potentially wanting to join the program? Is that something you recommend?
I think it's as I was just saying, it's find your own motivation to do the first step. Find something. Try to find that little thing that's gonna make you the click to let you do the first step into this, because it makes a massive change in your own life, and you get into into it, and when you get into it, you'll notice it more than when you just start. So try hard. Try hard to convince yourself that it's good for you.
Excellent. Try hard to convince yourself. Awesome, Filippo. That's all I got for you. You're free to go now. Thank you so much again for joining me today. I appreciate you sharing your story. You know what would be cool if we could do this like in between 6 months to a year, so people can see the skinny chef in the video.
Absolutely. Absolutely, we will.
Awesome. All right, people, thank you very much for watching. Keep being awesome, and I'll see you all on the flip side.